welcome to another episode of Flicks Fellas. Today we have a little special holiday spooky season movie for you. We are watching Mr. Harrigan's Phone, a Netflix original film that came out on October 5th with a runtime of an hour and 44 minutes, but a lot of it is credits. This movie was written and directed by John Lee Hancock and based on the short story by the infamous Stephen King, notorious spooky writer, and is about when Mr. Harrigan dies, Craig, the teen who befriended and did odd jobs for him, puts his smartphone in his pocket before burial. When the lonely youth sends his dead friend a message, he is shocked when he gets a return text message. Starring Donald Sutherland as Mr. Harrigan, Jaden Martell as the young boy Craig, and Joe Tippett as Craig's dad. It is a small cast of a movie, there's not many characters, not a lot of depth to this one, but let's get right into our first reactions with our resident horror film lover, James. What did you think?
I do not like horror films, and that is a lie. This one, again, I don't even think, I don't know what I would call this movie, but horror is definitely a stretch.
I was going to say the same thing.
I would say, maybe a PSA, but we can get into that later of what this movie's about. But, I don't know. It wasn't bad. I did actually find myself, drawn into the story, and, I enjoyed, it was short enough where I was like, all right, this is a weird plot, but I'm here for it. You know what I mean? I don't think...
It's Stephen King.
Yeah, it's Stephen King. It's also, I feel like Stephen King can touch any, Stephen King can, write something on a napkin, and then that'll be produced into a movie that makes over $1 million. You know what I mean?
By Netflix, nonetheless.
By Netflix, yeah, exactly. But, I don't know, is it something I think you should go out of your way for? I mean, if you're trying... I would use this as, a primer for your spooky season. This is something new that you're
before.
yeah, literally that. Yeah. I want to get into the real scary movies, but I need something to kind of get me in the spooky zone. It's Mr. Harrigan's Phone. But that's my general my thought on it. Kev, what do you think?
Yeah, no, this is definitely not a horror movie, and honestly, I think it kind of sucked. I mean, the story's recycled, right? Is it not just Death Wish? Isn't that...
Yes.
Or Death Note?
Death Note is it's a really popular anime. Yeah.
Right. And
yeah.
I don't watch it. I'm not a big anime guy, but I know of it, and Netflix adapted that, and then I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this just seems like that, but also not scary.
Yeah. And Death Note's better written. I didn't watch it.
I think the writing was so weird.
Do you know when Netflix did I never watched that anime. It never happened. I never happened upon it in my travels. But the Netflix adaptation, I remember I was getting on a plane or something, and I was I know people have said this is amazing, and I want to know what it's about. So the Netflix 45-minute adaptation, I'll give it a try. And I watched it, and it was garbage. It was hot garbage. The plot was
but
interesting.
the story's the same. I guess the device is the same, but the writing was weird. The dialogue was weird, and while being a movie about this phone and like James says, kind of a PSA that we'll talk about, but has to do with technology and cell phones, they were so technologically illiterate that it was laughable, painful at times. Where it's she texts him dance with me, and he just said K, and it's not even fucking kids talk like that. Everyone knows K is the passive aggressive thing. So it's just the illiteracy and just the cringiness is weird, and I think it was trying to be a coming of age tale, but it really wasn't. I wasn't emotionally invested in any of the characters at all. So I just think it failed on a lot of fronts. Yeah, the idea of it is interesting, but like I said, it's just a ripoff of something that came before that was better, and they didn't really do anything new with it. So, or anything different. It just, I don't know, it just felt silly, and it felt like an old man rambling at the horrors of technology, and just wasn't that great.
I'll say this too, okay, so it's IMDb has this classified as a horror movie, okay? And they're right. You guys are both right. It is not a horror movie. It's not scary. It's not like it's not even the log line that I read in the beginning of this episode like is so inaccurate to I think like what the movie is about. Like they talk about this man who dies and doesn't die and well, I won't spoil anything, but it's very drawn out in the beginning and you're kind of just like waiting for something big to happen. You're just waiting for some like excitement and then it's just like it becomes this PSA about the dangers of technology and how we're going to get consumed into our phones. And I think he says like fake news at one point. And I'm like, if this is supposed to be like 2003, I think it takes place.
Wasn't a thing.
Or 2004? 2008.
The first iPhone
okay.
came out in 2008.
8 years before Donald Trump runs for president and starts making this fake news common vernacular in the world. But like, it just wasn't true to like the times of like technology being like brought up. So it did feel like, oh, this man is like so wise that he's gonna like he's predicting all these things of what technology is gonna bring, but it's not really wise when you're writing it 13 years or 14 years.
Yeah, you're like retroactively like, hey, what's it called? It's gonna happen.
We
in
predicted
10 years.
this.
And you're like, you wrote it in fucking 2012 or 2022. Like,
yeah. But I'll say this too, like it's not the most exciting. It's a little slow and drawn out. I don't think it was horrible in the way that it like the execution of the style and technique I thought was well done enough that like I wasn't like poking my eyes out trying to end this movie.
Yeah.
So
I never sat
it
there
had
and was
some.
like, let me turn this off.
It was watchable. It had that watchable aspect to it for quality purposes.
Minimum.
Entertainment was a little low. Well, literally, yeah. It's the bare minimum because
did it pain me enough that I didn't turn it off?
To be fair, we have watched plenty of movies on this podcast that have made me just want to turn it off. One of the horror movies actually we've watched on this podcast, I just wanted to turn off.
Yes.
Which one?
Like
shout out that episode.
Things and not seeing them.
Things heard and seen. Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say Girl on the Train.
That might as well be a horror. That was horrible.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Girl on the Train.
Oh yeah. That's
the Bollywood adaptation.
Anyway, yeah. Sorry, Joe. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that was good. Yeah, I was also surprised because I'm like, okay, I love Donald Sutherland. Like, he's a great actor. Joe Tippett is one of those faces where you're like, where's that guy from? But no, he has a good resume too. Was on Mayor of Easttown, The Morning Show, The Act, Monster Man. Like, he is a good actor, so I was excited about him. Jaden Martell, the boy who played Craig, he was in It, Knives Out, Midnight Special, and St. Vincent. So like, also a credible actor. Like, I was just kind of surprised that like this wasn't better.
Yes.
And I think it was a writing aspect. And I also think that sometimes like short stories are not meant to be made into movies.
Yeah. It did
without taking more creative liberties.
Joe, I've got a rebuttal to that because Stephen King does have a short story that was made into quite a long movie, and it is fucking
I'm not saying it
fantastic.
can't be done.
One of the best movies
but I
of all
think
time. Can you guess what I'm talking
which
about?
one?
James is trying to figure it out.
Is it Shawshank?
It is Shawshank. That was a
you're
short
right.
Story.
Yeah,
it was only like 100 pages or some shit.
You're right. But that's what I mean. Like, it can be done, but I think because they did it with Shawshank and like they just keep trying to like redo it with him, and it's just not. I don't know. Like, some of them are just like a little bland and
or Stand By Me. Sorry. Another Stephen King was a short story, The Body. Sorry.
But
or,
that's just my take.
Hey Kevin, why don't you keep interrupting Joe?
It's my favorite pastime.
Joey, I do agree with you though. I feel like it's like I feel like there was a point in this movie where it felt like they ran out of content. Like they're like
yeah. Literally, they were like, we're just showing a bunch of kids in high school and like, yeah. This though, the girl who played his like iPhone love interest probably had the easiest like acting job in the world. She doesn't remember a single line.
She just has to do this. This was her whole role. Ready?
Kevin, do you need
Nailed
a job?
Yeah.
Ryan
You're
Murphy's
hired.
calling me right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that gives us enough of our first reactions. Why don't we tell us what you guys are deciding on this one? I'll start with James again.
So honestly, the issue is my brain like looks at this and is like, this is a keep scrolling. But I honestly had fun. I thought it was like good enough. I thought it was good enough. I didn't have an issue watching it. I actually caught myself like where it was like one of those things where I was like, oh, I'm definitely gonna side screen this. And like I was actually like watching it all the way through. So I am gonna say click play. I'm subject to
The buildup of that cat.
I wonder what Kevin's gonna say. Kev, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm
Kev,
scrolling. That
okay.
movie, I'm scrolling. It's not worth your time. Like you can fill your hour and a half with something way better. Or if you're just looking like it's horror movie, like it's Halloween spooky season. Don't pick this. There's like a billion other better movies.
Well, you know what? This one just came out, and my critique with the movie is that the trailer and the logline of this, it's not accurate to what this movie's about. Like, they shouldn't be advertising this as a horror movie. It should just be a thriller, mystery, like sci-fi,
definitely thriller.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Horror is not the right genre for this, so like I went into it with a totally different like mindset. Like James, I didn't think it was terrible. I personally I didn't have fun with it. I thought it was boring most of the time, and like I was every time I got like slightly excited about something, it would let me down, and then it would just kind of be drawn out. So I can't say I'm a strong press play on this one, but
don't let him influence you. Don't let him influence you.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to say keep scrolling on it.
No,
unless
don't
touch and go there for a second.
Unless you're a horror junkie who has literally seen everything and you just want something new, you can give it a watch. But like, it's watchable. It's not entertaining. So
well
there
said.
You have it. There is our first reactions.
Thank you for agreeing with me.
It didn't please me.